Welcome back to the channel, everybody. You're watching Probably at Disney, and for today's video, I have rounded up the most legit and interesting Disney park rumors that are circulating on the interwebs right now and that I think are worth talking about. Now, I should preface this by saying I have been holding on to this video for several days because I fully expected one, if not more, of these so-called rumors to be officially confirmed by Disney. And who knows, by the time you're watching this, maybe they have. But since I don't want to wait anymore, I'm just going for it today. But as always, whenever I share rumors, reports, speculation, and the like, know that it is not just armchair Imagineering or my own wishful thinking. My goal is to always pass along reports that have actual potential and substance to them. But let's not waste any more time. I am ready to dive into the Disney Park rumor mill, and I'm going to start with the Muppets. So amidst Disney closing Muppet Vision 3D, Disney is reportedly developing a new Muppet movie. Kind of crazy, I know. And again, this is a rumor and an early rumor if it's true, but here's why it could be happening and why I decided to include it in today's list. For one, Disney is not looking to dial back on the Muppet merchandise or their presence in commercials or special events. Plus, Disney has this IP, which is now back in the headlines and that it needs to do something with. And I'm sure there is a hope that maybe a new Muppet movie or project will help pacify disgruntled fans who were angry about losing Muppet Vision. Whether fans will actually feel that way, I'm not so sure, as abandoning Jim Henson's final project is definitely going to take some time. But since Disney has the rights, it makes sense to use them beyond a reskin of Rock and Roller Coaster. And I think Disney is feeling the pressure now more than ever to do that. Best case scenario, I'm hoping for something along the lines of Muppet Haunted Mansion that was way better than any of the post-90s Muppet movies or TV shows, in my opinion. And integrating the Muppets into the parks and vice versa may not be the restoration of Muppet's Courtyard or Muppet Vision that we would hope for, but it's a pretty good consolation prize. Next up is a report that you may have heard about already, and it's one I'm expecting Disney to confirm any day now, and it has to do with Disney World's next DVC resort, Disney Lakeshore Lodge. This resort is currently being constructed next to the Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground and on top of the old River Country Water Park. And the rumor is that the resort is following in the footsteps of Disney's Yacht and Beach Club resorts and offering a lazy river as part of its pool complex. Other details include a zero-entry main pool, a splash pad, and water slides, and the entire complex is going to face the lake. Now, when this project was first announced before the pandemic, I think fans expected Disney to deliver a pool area with plenty of nods to River Country, as that original water park was a huge deal back in the day and would close on the regular due to demand. I'm thrilled to hear Disney is looking to deliver on those expectations with this resort while paying tribute to its history, all while giving resort guests a mini water park. It's old meets new and a perk all in one, and it could easily skyrocket this resort, and let's be real, probably its prices, to the top of the Disney resort hierarchy. Again, I think this will be announced very soon since this resort's construction is already going vertical. Hopefully we'll get some new concept art as well because, strangely, Disney is still using the old concept art from before 2020 and when Lakeshore Lodge was called Reflections, Disney's Lakeside Lodge. And if the design has been reworked, which fingers crossed it has, hopefully we'll get a few River Country nods inside the resort in addition to this pool news. Now, as a reminder, this resort is expected but not confirmed to open alongside the Cars expansion at Magic Kingdom, and it was originally planned to offer a Tiana's-themed restaurant. This is why I think that Lakeshore Lodge is going to offer some clues about Disney's new vision for Frontierland, which, come to think about it, may be the reason for the delay in the concept art. I'll definitely be going over whatever is confirmed with the fine-tooth comb once we know more. Speaking of resorts, I touched on this in my last video, but there has been some talk online about Disney planning to use its Villains Land expansion to make way for another new resort, and one that's built literally on the border of Magic Kingdom with a back door into the park. This is something Disney World fans have wanted for decades, and it's something that the international Disney parks and even Disneyland in California has done with the Grand Californian Resort and Disney California Adventure. And since Disney needs to build a new DVC resort at Walt Disney World every set number of years, or it looks like a loss on those spreadsheets, now is the time with a significant part of the park getting an overhaul/expansion. Now, unlike some of the rumors I'm discussing today, I do not expect this one to get announced anytime soon, and I even have a few doubts about it. So, apart from the value resorts, Disney has never fully leaned into its characters to theme a resort, and let's be real, a resort with entry into Magic Kingdom will not be a value resort. So an immersive villains-inspired resort hotel would be kind of dark, a little creepy, and I'm not sure how family-friendly that would be. I have to wonder if this is part of the reason for Disney Cruise Line's upcoming Heroes and Villains themed cruise ship, the Disney Destiny, which will allow Imagineering to experiment with villain-inspired spaces. Time will tell, but I'm keeping my eye on that one. But I have been expecting Disney to build a resort between the Grand Floridian and Magic Kingdom with park access for several years now. And I do think this is very likely. I'm just skeptical about how far Disney is into the planning stages and how committed they are at this point. All right, time for a quick pause for today's What You Didn't Know segment, which I think I'm going to call my hidden gems from now on, kind of like my channel's logo. Let me know in the comments what you think about that name. I'd like to hear your thoughts. But for today, we are at Hollywood Studios, where you can find history from Disneyland's Disney California Adventure via billboards. Since both parks offer areas inspired by different eras of Hollywood history, both have nods to LA's historic red trolleys. And until last month, which was January 2025, Disney California Adventure had a functioning red car trolley. But one, at least, is now a stationary fixture because they had to close the line to make way for Avengers Campus's expansion. Then we have this other Hollywood Studios billboard for Paradise Pier. That was the name of the pier at Disney California Adventure, which received a reskin several years ago and is now known as Pixar Pier. But the billboard at Hollywood Studios still references its Paradise Pier days and what the rides look like on the pier when the park first opened in 2001.
We got there in the end.
The next new rumor I want to discuss is talk of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at both Disneyland and Disney World's Hollywood Studios getting a name change. I first heard this report from the Disney Dish podcast, who themselves admitted this is a potential change for the future, as in down the road, a couple of years from now. But I wanted to include it in today's rumor roundup because it does connect with some more recent news. So, if you're not aware, Disney has been slowly removing the land's sequel trilogy timeline for a couple of years now, and I'm thrilled because the fact we had a Star Wars land where Darth Vader couldn't exist is just crazy to me. And while I'm glad they've been removing the timeline restriction, it's been a little slow. However, Disneyland, and only Disneyland, is taking the biggest step forward yet this year with a new projection show that references the entire Star Wars saga, not just the sequel films, and will introduce a Return of the Jedi-era Luke Skywalker into the land. So even though this is moving a little too slow for my taste, Star Wars Land may actually be able to celebrate all of Star Wars. And in the future, part of that change may be removing the ambiguous Galaxy's Edge name. So the question is, will it just be called Star Wars Land or something completely different and new? I think that's being discussed now, and I would pay attention to whatever Imagineering is doing at Disneyland and Hollywood Studios, because I think a lot of testing is going on. All right, are you ready for a new rumor? There is talk, just these past couple of days, that Magic Kingdom Space Mountain may be slated for a massive overhaul and will gain a single track instead of its current double track and side-by-side ride vehicles. This would make Disney World Space Mountain, and the original Space Mountain, by the way, pretty much like Disneyland's version. Now, I personally would not have a problem with this. Magic Kingdom Space Mountain may be the first ever version of this coaster, but I think Disneyland's offers a superior ride experience. Still, I was hesitant to include it today in this roundup because I have some questions and some skepticism, because this would be a huge overhaul. It would change what makes Disney World's version unique. I'm not sure if it's in the budget, but the reason why I ultimately decided to include it is because the buzz about this has not gone away. It has not been debunked yet, and I can't deny that it wouldn't solve some problems with the attraction, and it would allow this Space Mountain to have a refresh that may fit more seamlessly alongside Tron Light Cycle Run. We'll see if this does get debunked in the next couple of days or weeks. We'll see if we hear anything about it at D23 in August later this year, because that's the earliest I would expect confirmation about it. The next rumor also has to do with the Magic Kingdom attraction, and that's the Haunted Mansion. I touched on this in my last video, but there's been recent news that Disney filed a new permit for work on the Haunted Mansion, and the nature of the permit suggests this is more than just maintenance and may involve actual show elements. The leading theory is that Disney World is changing the attic scene to match Disneyland's new attic scene, where Constance Hatchaway was replaced by a hovering ghost bride holding a candelabra. And according to Imagineering, this change was made because the axe murderer storyline was too dark and too weird, and they want to be aware of people's sensitivities. So given this reasoning, it wouldn't make sense for Imagineering to leave Disney World's version as is. So I'm expecting this to be announced in the very near future. But again, if you watched my last video, I'm curious to see if any other changes will be made ahead of Disney starting construction on the Cars attractions and Villains Land, both of which sit next door to the Haunted Mansion. All right, we've made it to the last rumor of the day, and that is the opening timeline for Hollywood Studios' Villains Unfairly Ever After, The Little Mermaid A Musical Adventure, and Magic Kingdom's new Disney Starlight Dream the Night Away Parade. Hollywood Studios recently promoted its two new shows during its Valentine's Day at the park, and there they reportedly shot an ad or commercial. Then Disney added special pages to the Disney Parks blog and website just for these upcoming editions. Disney has been saying all along these new offerings will debut in summer of 2025, which could be as late as September. But in recent days, there's a growing consensus that they are likely to premiere Memorial Day weekend to kick off the summer season, give Disney something to promote, and it's convenient because the press will already be in town for the opening of Universal Epic Universe. And despite what might be said, I don't think Disney is expecting to compete with Epic Universe this summer, but I do think they're going to try to take advantage of the tailwind and lure guests over to Walt Disney World for a few days. And I think these shows, plus the Magic Kingdom's new parade, is how they intend to do that, making a Memorial Weekend opening all the more likely. Well, that is all the rumors I have for now, but before I let you go, I want to clue you in on when official announcements from Disney, including potential updates on the Rivers of America, Villains Land, Tropical Americas and Animal Kingdom, Monstropolis at Hollywood Studios, and more are expected. And that is at this year's South by Southwest, where Disney Parks Chairman Josh D'Amaro is going to be presenting a panel titled The Future of World Building at Disney. From that title, I'm not expecting a tech presentation this year. I'm expecting info about future immersive lands Imagineering is working on. And that is all happening on Saturday, March 8th. And of course, I'll be covering all that in detail. If, of course, there's news to cover, I could be disappointed. But since Disney has had a rough couple of weeks in the press, I think they're going to try to deliver something here in a couple of days. So that is all I have, but if you enjoyed this video and if you're looking for a different approach to Disney Park and Cruise Line news and analysis, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. We and Disney are just getting started in all that's happening this year and in the news-packed months ahead. Please leave a comment about which rumor you think is most likely true and when you expect it to happen. But regardless, thanks so much for taking the time to watch, and I hope you have a magical day.